Hello, I'm Dr. Amato, a vascular surgeon at the Amato Institute. I'm here once again to talk about lipedema, a topic that for years I've been discussing here on the channel. And recently I heard something that made me want to record this video. So I heard people referring to lipedema as a tumor. And this is such a huge absurdity that I need to explain a few things to you. What is a tumor? A tumor is a growth of cells circumscribed. A tumor is a growth in a well-defined area. A tumor can be benign, meaning a tumor that doesn't have cancer associated with it. These are cells that grow in a certain place and don't necessarily cause the person's consumption. It doesn't have an uncontrolled growth to the point of consuming the person. Now there's the malignant tumor. A malignant tumor is cancerous cells. These cancerous cells, they are a cancer. What does that mean? It means they reproduce without control from our body to the point where it uses all our energy and can lead to death. So when we talk about a fat tumor, it's a very generic term that can be associated then with a circumscribed growth of adipocyte fat cells. It would be a lipoma. So there's this condition. They are fat nodules that grow anywhere on the body. It can be very often on the arm, on the back, on the belly. It can appear on the legs too. It can appear on the chest, anywhere on the body that has fatty tissue. A benign nodule can grow. The lipoma is extremely common. Now, when we talk about a malignant tumor, the most common one mentioned is a liposarcoma. So the liposarcoma is extremely rare. It can grow anywhere on the body that has fatty tissue, often in retroperitoneal areas, which are more intra-abdominal, deeper inside the body, but it can also be more external, and it is a cancer. So the liposarcoma, a malignant tumor, is a cancer, and a benign tumor would be the lipoma. The problem is that when we talk about a tumor, in the general conception of the word, it seems like something bad. If it's bad, I have to remove it from my body. And if we associate this word with lipedema, it might seem like, oh my gosh, if it's a tumor, I have to get it out of my body immediately. So let's talk about lipedema. Lipedema is a generalized, diffuse, and not circumscribed growth of adipocytes, and fat cells. So I can't call lipedema a tumor. Lipedema is a deposition of fat cells, but uncontrolled in the sense that it is inflamed. It's the inflammation of the lymphatic system that generates adipogenesis, which is the creation of new fat cells. If we reduce the inflammation, this doesn't happen. This is different from a tumor, especially a malignant one. With a malignant tumor, no matter what we do, the cell is reproducing and growing. In lipedema, no, and it is not localized, it's diffuse in limbs, and it only occurs in the lower and upper limbs. There is no abdominal lipedema. Also, another thing I heard recently is facial lipedema. Facial lipedema does not exist. Lipedema affects the arms, forearms, legs, hips, and thighs. If it's limited to these areas and not circumscribed, it's not a tumor. This distinction is crucial as it rules out the possibility of it being a tumor. The urge is to remove it immediately. Since it's not a tumor, we can take a step back and look at the disease as a whole. Wow, what is the inflammatory trigger? Let's treat the inflammatory trigger. Let's treat the inflammation. And, if necessary, surgical treatment can also be done. Liposuction is one of the many tools available for the symptomatic treatment of lipedema. And look how interesting. Liposuction is not the treatment for lipoma, which is a fat tumor. Liposuction is also not a treatment, far from being for a liposarcoma, which would be a treatment, or a malignant fat tumor. So it's very important for us to separate these things because they are very well studied and classified within medicine. We don't need to take the name of one disease to try to apply it to another disease to justify something. That's why it's important for you to consult a specialist on the subject. Lipedema, or can occur alongside a lipoma. But it doesn't mean that every lipedema has a lipoma, and neither that the lipoma in lipedema, AD, is malignant or needs to be removed immediately. So each case is unique. You need to be evaluated by someone who studies the subject, who is dedicated to it, and who can give you all the options so that you make an informed decision about the best treatment for you. Enjoyed our video? Subscribe to our channel. Click the bell, share with your friends, and